Hey, it's Con Carne. We're in the parking lot of Byron's on Lawrence Avenue. Con Carne, presented by our dear friends at the Autobarn Mazda of Evanston, 1015 Chicago Avenue. We're in a brand new Mazda CX-9. This is gorgeous and comfortable, isn't it?
It's really
It
nice.
is.
This is the environment you want to eat hot dogs in. This is actually a very comfortable, luxurious, and safe ride. Take a test drive. The Autobarn Mazda of Evanston. Actor Mickey O'Sullivan.
Hi, everybody.
Byron's owner Mike Payne. Are you ready to do this?
I'm ready to eat. I know that.
I'm so ready to eat.
I'm starving.
Dear God, I'm so ready to eat.
It's Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
Okay, so we're at Byron's. What I just learned before we recorded, Mickey and I at different times used to live like a block away from here.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I used to live on Paulina at like 4872.
4836.
Yeah, we were neighbors in different times. But I love this area.
I do too, but I was always looked at like the pit bull, you know, like I would walk around because I was a night owl, you know, and so I'd walk around running my lines. You know, I'd walk around this block and people would just peek their head out like, what is this psychopath
When you walk down
doing
the
out?
street rehearsing your...
Yeah, because you rehearse at home, and like if you keep saying "get on the floor," you know, like at home, people like your neighbors start to think that you're crazy, and so I would walk around the block and just kind of mutter to myself. But then you get the pit bull syndrome, where the people in your neighborhood think that you're dangerous, you know, and so they move to the other side of the block when you walk by them, and it's a really isolating feeling.
You?
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't look threatening.
Well, you should see me at like 3 a.m. and I was a smoker back then, so I was just chaining cigarettes and walking.
I can see that.
Yeah. It was. I have to admit, like looking down at myself, I could have done better. Yeah.
So here at Byron's, we decided to take two of Byron's classic menu items and kind of have them side by side. We went for the classic Chicago dog, which is a must, right, Mike?
Absolutely. You can't come to Byron's without it.
Vienna beef.
Vienna beef, all Vienna beef.
Now, this is the dog that you served to the White House like 9 years ago, right?
It is. It absolutely is the same one.
Back in the day when you could deliver hot dogs to the White House and not have people turn it into something political.
Well, people tried to do it then, I can
Did
tell
they
you
really?
that. Oh, yeah.
I bet.
Absolutely. I got interviewed after we went there, and people were talking about, well, what if it was a Republican in the office? How would you feel about that? And I said, that's not for me to decide. You know, we're just happy that we were there, and we did the best we could, and we served all the hot dogs to all the senators and House of Representatives.
That's
they loved it, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
You didn't even need to tell us that. Of course they did. You brought Byron's hot dogs to Washington, D.C. All right, so we got the classic Chicago dog, and you put your own Byron spin on a Chicago dog. What do you do to it?
By the way, that is the one that we brought to the White House, so Byron's hot dog,
Okay.
not the Chicago-style classic.
So we're gonna eat the same thing that the president had.
That's exactly right.
That's right.
There we go.
All right, so what's
Byron's takes all the classic ingredients, mustard, relish, onion, tomato, pickle, hot pepper, and celery salt, and we add lettuce, cucumber, and green pepper at your own particular taste. If you want it, you can have it. If you don't, you don't.
I want it.
But that's how we started, and that's how we've been doing it for 43 years. So.
All right, so bring it on. Should we start with the Byron's?
Let's do it. I love how when we're looking at this, so we can use this kind of as a review mirror.
Yes.
Nice.
Exactly.
I'm really excited by it.
There's
you
a
very
Byron's
much.
hot dog, not a Chicago style.
All right.
Someone asked me, I don't know, a month ago, look at that. See,
at that
that's
beautiful
it.
dog,
When you think of Chicago, that's exactly what you think of, right?
Absolutely.
I love it. Someone asked
James,
me-
there's yours.
Thank you, Mike.
All right.
Okay, and here's your fries.
All right, you gotta have fries, right?
One for each.
There's a bell
There you go.
pepper. A bell pepper on a hot dog. Thank you very much.
Okay.
You gotta love that the bag is translucent. And
That's how you know you're in Chicago.
I will say, Mickey and Mike, the car is a loaner, so please be gentle.
You bet.
Eat over your paper. I'm talking to you like a dad, please.
Hey guys, just like really take it easy on the mess you make back there.
Look,
because
I know you're hungry,
I'm
but
the one who's gonna have to clean it up.
this isn't my... Okay, so the Byron's
Well,
hot
you're
dog...
the one that invited us here, by the way. So.
True enough. I don't... Mike, my
Hey,
mouth...
Pat.
My mouth doesn't open sideways like this. I don't know how to do this. How do you do it, Mickey?
You just
Well,
gotta
he has a
open your
bigger mouth than
I got a huge mouth.
That may be true.
more than one way.
I kind of need to divest myself of some of the ingredients just to like get in there.
You know, you just gotta like Let's see if I can.
There's a lot of people that love to deconstruct our hot dogs before they eat them.
By the way, nothing sounds better than eating a hot dog like that on a lavalier microphone.
I bet it
That
sounds
sounded
great.
fantastic in my headphones. Oh my god! I like
This is an experience.
I like the cucumber in here. I like just that clean, crunchy taste.
That's good.
Oh, Mike, thank you. This is so good. So, Mickey O'Sullivan, most recently we probably all saw you on The Chi.
Yep.
And I think we can all agree, season 1 of The Chi, not enough Mickey O'Sullivan.
That's true. We can.
I mean, there really wasn't enough of you.
You know, I'm just so thankful to have been on such an awesome show. And, you know, season 2's coming up, so check it out.
We will.
More chef?
We got some more. I can neither confirm nor deny.
Right, so when do we get season 2?
Season 2 is going to come out in about 2 months. If my information is correct. I'm the luckiest actor in the world in that I have a lot of wonderful projects in post-production right now. And it's hard to keep track of the exact dates. But we got 2 things coming out this spring. We've got Captive State with John Goodman.
You told me about that last time we sat down.
Yeah, the trailer came out. I'm in my first big boy movie trailer. I'm in the first 2 seconds of it. I'm really proud. I showed it to my mom.
I haven't seen it yet. I've got to see this.
I'll pull it up as soon as I'm done with this hot dog here. But Captive State, and then we have a web series called Right Swipe, which is about these 2 women who start a dating service to kind of like help idiot men make profiles that are actually reflective of the decent human beings that they are. And I play all of the non-decent human beings.
And by the way, how does that business not exist in real life? Right?
It does.
Okay. I was going to say, that seems to fill a legitimate need.
Yeah.
Pat on the Facebook Live just said, nothing more attractive than watching another man shove a hot dog in his mouth in close-up, which is what Mickey did. He just leaned in. Oh, so I was going to say, someone asked me like a month ago, what kind of cameras do you use for your podcast when you do your Facebook Live? Well, my camera is a Galaxy S9 phone.
Whoa.
Yeah. In selfie mode. That's the camera rig I've got going on here.
We're competing. I'm an iPhone guy.
Does Showtime use something like this when they shoot?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just like this. Just basically a phone. Anybody can shoot on it. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have that's the best thing about being an actor is when you show up and you realize that everything around you is a more expensive toy than you could ever wish to have. And you have no idea how to use any of it, and so you really just have to rely on and support everybody else who has all of these tools, because you're like, I have no idea how I would use that.
Right.
I have no idea the right way, the wrong way, so you just tell me where to stand and what to do, and I will do it to the best of my ability for you.
All right, Mike, this is the point in the podcast where I ask you if you have an empty bag to throw refuse in.
I do.
You're done with that already?
Well, I'm hosting. I gotta
You're right.
gotta keep this moving.
Here we go.
The ship doesn't sail without me, bro.
We're on a ship? Oh, man.
And here's another reason to love coming to this restaurant.
Here you go, Mike. Thank you.
Yep.
Byron's has Green River on the fountain. This is quintessential Chicago. Green River on the fountain.
And it's more rare than you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy it in grocery stores in cans or bottles, but in fountain you can't. There's nowhere that I know of that you can find it.
What's your relationship like with the Green River people? It's a pretty good one.
They all moved
We're
out
the
of
boss,
Chicago,
and
right?
they sell to us.
They moved out of Chicago years ago, but they're still
Green
very
River
much-
actually started in Minnesota.
I thought it was always a Chicago thing.
I love Minnesota.
No. And now, yeah, right. Ask your brother; he probably knows. How
Well,
long
I'm
has he
going to go
lived
up there in 2 weeks. He's been up there off and on for a few years now.
At this point, I should mention we could probably road trip in a Mazda CX-9 from the Autobarn Mazda of Evanston if we wanted to go to Minnesota.
There you go.
If Mazda wants to help me get up to Minnesota, I've got a bunch of hockey equipment that I need to bring up there.
This would be a
I'd
perfect
glad.
carport. When we first booked this interview,
Yeah.
this moment, we did it for this Sunday. We were recording on Sunday the 13th because you said, I'm going to be on Chicago PD that week. It would be great if we could promote it. That's not happening.
That is not happening
Not
this
this
Wednesday.
week. Yeah.
It'll happen at the end of the month on the 30th. I'll be back on Chicago PD as a different character. I won't give away too
This is
much.
your
but
third time on the show?
This is my third character. Blessing, I think, maybe a record.
You're kind of like Stan Lee. on Chicago PD. Every time we see you on the screen, you're in a different scenario.
That's right.
Different
That's
role.
Right.
So you're the Stan Lee of Chicago PD.
You know, I think I was just like, my mom used to say, "Oh, Mick, you don't have a face for comedy. You have a tragic face." And I think what she meant is that I have a very industrial-looking face. Like if you look at the people on Chicago PD, most of them look like blue-collar, either cops or criminals, and I look like both. Right?
I could see
You
that.
could do both, yeah. I could say that.
Absolutely. But if you ask me to play like a love interest, it's like, oh man, brutal. They're just not going to pick this face.
I don't know.
Oh, that's
My
nice.
wife thought you were pretty nice looking.
Mike, that's so nice. Earlier, and he was wondering about why I don't have more scars on my face from hockey. But now he said that really nice.
That's because you didn't play against me.
That's right.
Otherwise,
Like you play
would
hockey
have.
too?
Yeah.
Did you play over at Johnny's?
Not now. I don't. I'm
Sure.
a little bit too old, and I've got too many artificial joints to play down there now because it's really good hockey down there.
Yeah.
But I played college hockey. Well, it was a club
kidding.
hockey team actually.
Where at?
Loyola, right
Yeah.
up the street here.
Sure.
And
That's
I played a
great.
lot of men's league. That's one reason why I had to get artificial hips and an artificial knee.
Wow, brutal.
I'm the least manly person in this entire car right now.
Snoop Dogg just did a sports.
I saw that.
You saw that, and he said, "Man, you gotta be a whole lot of man to play this game." It's like, yes, you do. Yeah, it was hockey was great. I used to sharpen skates down at Johnny's Ice House. It was one of my few jobs when I was starting off as an actor in Chicago.
So, going back to Chicago PD, you can't really tell us anything about this episode you're on?
I think that it's going to be pretty controversial.
Is it like a headline pulled from the headlines kind of topical sort of thing?
Yeah, if you like pull from a bunch of headlines over the past like 2 years, and then you also think about like, what does it mean to, what is the thin blue line? You know, and like, what does it mean to be a good cop? What does it mean to be a bad cop? What does it mean to support cops? What does it mean to challenge cops to be better?
As an actor who is very active as a Chicago actor, what do you think of the proliferation of Chicago-based shows and just the amount of filming that happens in the city? This has to be a great thing, right?
It's a beautiful thing. I'm hoping for, I mean, you always want better, right? It's a beautiful thing. We have some amazing shows. More shows are coming. Networks are really starting to trust Chicago. Commercially, it's always been a wonderful town. And I'm hoping to see more movies. You know, like in the 90s and the 80s, I think we saw like this wonderful rush of heartwarming comedies. And we have some of the best comedians in the world in Chicago, and I really hope to see a little bit more of that. But you can't complain about having so many network shows in one location, you know?
It's kind of awesome.
It's pretty beautiful.
Just on the outside looking in, I think it's really cool. Jumping into a different corner or arena, what do you think of these releases on Netflix? As a distribution platform. I mean, I've watched the Bandersnatch,
How many times have you watched it?
I watched it in one sitting, but it was probably like 10 times in one sitting.
Okay. Yeah.
Bandersnatch, I watched Bird Box. This excites me as a distribution model. I don't know what it means to actors or to Hollywood.
We're going through a content boom, right? Like we're seeing more content being produced on more platforms and more in different ways than we ever have. I'd say maybe the only other time that we've seen it like this was post World War World War II era, right? And I think it's a beautiful thing. Like it means more opportunities to tell stories, more opportunities to fail. Like a lot of people really got down on Bandersnatch, and I was like, hold the phone, guys. They just did a choose your own adventure movie. Just trying to do that on a platform as big as Netflix. That's an accomplishment. Like if you look at the timeline of humanity, like they will say, well, wow, Netflix tried to do this thing on a grand scale. And I will be the one who looks at my friends and says, hey, remember this past summer when I called you all up and I said I have an idea? I want to do a horror movie that's choose your own adventure and release it on YouTube. And they all laughed at me. I will go to my grave with that one.
That's a good one, and you'll return from the grave.
I'll return if you choose this option. Oh yeah, but then Bird Box. I loved Bird Box.
I saw some negative feedback online. I read the book a few years ago, My only problem with it is they changed the ending because the ending was a little bit darker. But I thought it was cool. I mean, there was, especially in the early part of the movie where this disease, this affliction on society starts to take hold and people start reacting to it. There were some hair-raising moments very early on in the movie that kind of stuck with me.
I thought that's what really made it work well, was that first initial speech that Sandra Bullock gives to the kids, and then paired with those initial moments when people start transforming. It made the rest of the movie kind of, it allowed it to go down that river, you know? And I also, have you ever bird boxed somebody? Where you put the blindfold on them and you walk them around? It's way harder.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, I've just threw a surprise party for my fiance, and so like I was trying to get her into the back of an Uber, but I had earphones so that she wouldn't hear where we were going, and then I put sunglasses, and
so the neighbors are thinking there's a kidnapping.
Definitely, especially Mickey the pit bull, and I'm like, don't worry, everything's fine, and that usually makes it seem like everything's not fine.
That O'Sullivan boy is doing some weird S&M thing over by Foster.
It's really difficult, though. Curbs are a real obstacle.
Sure.
Holy camole, she almost took a dive. I almost felt really bad because we had it on camera at that point, too.
Oh, my God. Isn't this great?
Yeah. Bird box! Bird box, everybody!
That's what editors are for, though, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. We can edit this, right?
Well, you know what? I just thought of something. You could tell us what the content on Chicago PD is going to be, and then James could promise to edit it out.
Now, see, we're live on Facebook right now. We're live on Facebook.
I think the thing that I'm looking forward to seeing is I'll be working with an old friend of mine that I've known since high school, Leroyce Hawkins, who's a series regular on the show. He plays Officer Atwater on the show, and the first time I was on there, we had maybe like 2 seconds of screen time together, and this time we have a bit more. And
that's cool.
It's going to be really exciting because we've known each other since high school. We used to compete against each other in high school speech, and then in college we went to the same school, Illinois State University, and so we kind of like keep doing this intersection.
I love that
in our career, so it's really nice. And yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but tune in on the 30th.
I mean, here's the best news for me, and I do want to say Tyler Wildy says, "Hey guys, hey Tyler."
Hey Tyler.
The best part about you being on the show at the end of the month means I don't have to edit it right away. When I take the audio home, I can sit on it for a few days.
Is that good or bad for you?
It's great for me.
Do you get it done? It does not stress you out. It would stress me out.
The weird thing about booking a podcast like this, it's feast or famine when it comes to guest booking. Like, I can go 2 weeks without a guest, and then suddenly I've got like 4 nights over the course of 7 days. That's what I'm in right now. I recorded a podcast yesterday. I'm recording another one tomorrow night, and I recorded one last Tuesday. So I'm okay taking a breather, and I'll edit this in a few days.
You're pretty quick on those. I was on a podcast we did the one last year, and you put that out really fast. I did a podcast with a few friends of mine, and actually this is a hilarious story. I went to go pick out an engagement ring recently, and engagement rings are tough to buy as a man because you walk into the store and you're instantly vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like
overwhelmed.
And overwhelmed, absolutely, because you know you have to make this purchase, and it's a really important purchase, and you don't want to get it wrong and all that stuff. But the person at the store knows they've got you.
Yeah.
As soon as you walk in the door.
Because you have to buy it.
You have to buy it.
And you're not going to go shopping around.
I did. I made the commitment to like shop around, right?
Proud of you.
I went to a few places, and I finally got to this one store, and I really loved the ring. But I was like, I need to walk away for a little while so I have some space, and I walked straight into the glass door on my way out and fell on my ass, just straight on my ass. I was like, that's probably a sign. I stood back up and I looked at the lady and I was like, hey, just this thought came to me. How often does it happen where you know the person who walks in or you know their spouse and now you have to keep the secret for a little while? She's like, never. It never happens. I go to this next door. I walk in. I say 2 words. Hi. Whatever. How's it going? More than 2 words. And she went, do you know so-and-so? And I went, yeah. She's like, I heard you on a podcast.
Oh, my Lord.
And I thought that's just so funny. I did a podcast where I pranked my buddy that, me and the host would get into this fist fight. and we wanted to see how long it would take for him to intervene. You know, we have that hockey mentality.
Oh my God.
Just roughhousing.
So,
you know?
as busy as you are do you audition a lot still?
I do, yeah. Yeah, I just auditioned today for 2 pilots. I tape them. I'll, edit the tapes in the morning, send them off to the agent. Agent will send them in, and hopefully I'll hear something. But I try to let it go as soon as I leave.
You strike me as someone, no matter what level you achieve in the acting business, you'll always be like looking
Mickey
for
O'Sullivan.
Other opportunities or ways to stretch out, and you don't seem like someone who would ever be complacent.
I'm not. I have kind of ADD. I get bored very quick. I got back into
Do you want to leave?
fitness. No, but I really want to like talk about a million different things and stretch my legs. But I think acting's not all I want to do in my life. I'm interested in doing more charity. I'm interested in...
We've talked about that.
We have, yeah. I have lots of ideas, and I think the more I... and a lot of practices too, but the more I just focus on my career, I think the worse I do in my career, the worse I do in my life, and the more I focus on doing things in my life with my friends and my community, the better I do in my career. So it's this like conundrum, But yeah, we talked a bit about getting some stuff going, and
Because I'm at that point. Like, as an adult, I'm like, I need to do something that gives back. Mm-hmm. Just to let my kids see that
it's possible.
Yes.
Without without it taking over your life, like that it doesn't have to be the sole focus of your life, but that there are little ways in which you can very easily give back, and not only in a financial way. Like, one of the things that we had talked about and what I want to encourage other people to do is find those moments in your life where it takes nothing, right? Like, a lot of people are going through their houses right now and they're getting rid of things, right? They're like dropping it off at thrift stores and this or that. And it's like, take all those socks, those wonderful socks that you're about to throw away because they don't spark joy in you right now. Put them in a bag, put in your backpack. And when you get off the train and that person says, hey, can you help me out? You can, and that might not be the thing that they need or they want right at that moment, and that's okay too. But you can bring those things with you. You can split your sandwich at Subway in half and share it with somebody, and it doesn't have to be this thing that takes away from you.
Going back to auditioning.
Yeah.
I've never acted in my life, and I started looking through movie scripts, and I thought it'd be fun if you auditioned for a really shitty movie. And I have a couple sample scripts from some of the shittiest movies ever made.
All right.
Just like 1 or 2 pages.
Okay.
And I don't even know how to do this. Should I read whatever we pick, should I read like the stage directions?
Like the first time I auditioned for Chicago P.D. This is great. I mean, not the shitty show.
All right, so your choices are... Because you could read like the character stuff. Should I read like the...
No, don't tell me anything.
Okay. The choices are...
Maybe you want to tell them. I don't know.
The 3 choices...
Yeah.
Or do you just want to go cold on a script?
I want to go cold. You want to tell the people what we have to choose from?
I don't have it written down. I just know what they are.
So we got 3 scripts here.
3 scripts. I'm going to give you this one.
Cool. Do you have 2 copies of this?
I do.
Awesome.
The name of the movie is?
Leprechaun in the Hood. We have Reverend Hansen, Zombie Girl #1. Oh my
and Leprechaun.
Gosh. And Leprechaun.
So there are 3 characters. Can you do all 3 characters?
You want me to do all 3?
Or do you want me to like...
I want you to do one.
Okay, who should I... Should I be Zombie Girl 1? Because you've got to be the Leprechaun, right?
I think I have to be the Leprechaun.
Okay.
Sounded like it.
Okay, so should I read like this stuff?
I think just the initial stage, the script direction, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Just the initial one, and then we'll...
Okay. Okay. So, all right, so I'm
Here,
Zombie Girl 1.
I'll read it in my movie voice. Ready? Reverend Hansen is holding the offering plates in his hand while surveying the mess in his church. The parishioners have gone home. Surprisingly, he is not too disappointed. Must be the Lord's way of telling me to have a fundraiser. Praise God for the fundraiser. He begins to count the money from the Sunday service, slipping it into his pockets. 1 for me, 1 for me, 2 for me, 2 for me, 3 for me, 3 for me, 4 for me. Out of the corner of his eyes, he sees the zombie girls sneaking into a side entrance. Praise be, more sinners. Let me lay my hands on you sinful creatures and pass on God's blessing. Zombie Girl 1 glides over in a sultry fashion. That's you. Puts her arm around the Reverend and turns him from the others. The other zombie girls disappear downstairs.
Do you have the gift of healing, Reverend?
Is that your best zombie girl? Come on.
It's my first time. It's my first time.
Oh, yes. Chili. Yes, of course. My specialty is the gift of tongues. Oh, this is a leprechaun. The Reverend is startled by the presence of the leprechaun and the rest of the zombie girls. I knows the beast when I sees him. Get thee hence from the house of the Lord. The ladies can stay. Robin Hood, good Reverend. Now give me the golden flute. Ain't got no flute, and wouldn't give it to you if I did. The Lord delivered the Israelites from the hands of the Philistines. He delivered David from Goliath, delivered Letterman from NBC. Wow. And he'll deliver you from your freaky little ass too. Praise God. The piano begins to play by itself, and as if in a spell, the Reverend is hypnotically drawn to the piano. Play me a song before you die, and you'll see hell by and by. Jeez. He cannot resist the will of Leprechaun. He struggles against unseen forces, but he finds himself sitting at the piano. The Leprechaun begins to direct him like a conductor. He begins to play a slow, somber, dark tune. Suddenly, the keyboard, not a piano anymore, cover falls on the Reverend's hands, pinning his fingers to the keyboard. He cries out in agony, "Oh!" The Leprechaun goes to the altar, where the crash and bread remain. The zombie girls scavenge the cash, and the Leprechaun takes the bread and advances upon the Reverend. The Lep jumps on the Reverend's back and holds the bread over his face, and as the Reverend begins to suffocate, money, cash, dough, and bread, he had his fill, he was dead.
Mickey O'Sullivan.
Very
A
good.
dramatic reading of Leprechaun in the Hood.
In the Hood. In the Hood.
That was...
I haven't seen that movie in a really long time, so that's a...
I'm not
It's a
wrong to
blast
be
from the
crying.
past.
That was that moved me.
You know, I do wish that there was somebody in all of the auditions reading the screen directions, you know?
Like the voice of God, like Morgan Freeman, kind of piloting you through all that.
Where, like, you could do it along with Morgan Freeman's voice.
Exactly. So, speaking of auditions, what was the shittiest one you've ever been on?
The shittiest audition?
Uh-huh.
Oh, man.
I've got to think
They're all special.
Yeah.
Whew.
Like, was there one where you walked in, they asked you to take off your pants? Was there...
Oh, sure. I had auditioned for... let's see, what's... The problem is, right, yeah, the problem is you don't want to, like... I auditioned for a play in New York City, and when you are auditioning with a reader, it might say kiss, but you're not supposed to kiss, you know? And I thought... And I was really young. I was in New York City, and I was supposed to spill wine on my cousin's shirt and then pat it down, or her skirt, and then pat it down. And I came in there, and I took my shirt off to use it as like a cloth. And I think we ended up making out. I got the part, but then I found out later that she was the daughter of a very, very, very famous New York icon. And that kind of screwed with my head.
Well played.
So it wasn't the worst, but...
It's memorable.
Uh-huh.
For maybe not all the right reasons.
Definitely not all the right reasons, but there was one where I walked in, somebody called me, I'm always the person who fills in. You know, like, oh, so-and-so dropped out of this, or so-and-so can't make it. Are you available? Are you interested? And I'm always like, yeah, sure. Like, yeah, I'll read your Leprechaun in the Hood thing. Why not? Right? And I came in, and it was just... I was playing a racist sheriff.
Oof.
And I came in the room, and I'm looking around, and it's all people of color, and I'm looking around, and I'm looking at the script, and I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah, that'd be hard. I mean, I realize you have to put on blinders and throw yourself into the part.
Yeah, but I just couldn't. Like, I was like, this is volatile, and I just couldn't do it. There was too many. There was too much. And so that was a tough one where you have to be like, I can't do this thing that you're asking me to do. And also, you feel kind of in an uncomfortable position to be asked to do it, but then at the same time recognize that, like, this is a reality for a lot of people, you know, that this character exists in real life, and that you're just being asked to say words that they have said before.
And that makes me wonder. You talked about walking down Paulina, reciting the lines for whatever you're working on.
Oh yeah.
How much do you immerse yourself in a role? Are you able to kind of detach, or are you just, you take on that role and you become like Jared Leto as the Joker, and you're like mailing dead carcasses to?
No. It has to exist within the time that you say action and cut, and then it has to go away. That's where it's magical. That's where you're like transcending something, you know, like if you have a gift or whatever, it exists when you're on that stage. And anything else is kind of a trick that you're pulling on the other people that you're working with, you know?
That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
Well, but like, you know, you do these things, like it takes an enormous amount of effort for the work that you do on your own. Like, you don't get paid for that. The work that you walk around the block and you memorize 5 different scripts and hope that you book one of them, and then you do it again and again and again and again, and you do, you know, like, I guess, lose yourself in those moments, but never, you know, I don't come home and and like look at my, you know, family and start saying those things, you know?
Right, of course.
Or doing those things. It's definitely acting. But that's Hollywood is like shrouded in mystery about like what acting is, you know. And
I don't think there's supposed to be one right answer.
I don't think there is, but I think that it's a craft. You know, it's a craft, and it's not magic. It certainly isn't instant, but it's also tricks and magic. You know, like what you do on camera is different than what you can do on stage, and so knowing all of that is really important. And, you know, you're telling a story with a bunch of people. It is like the silliest profession that you can ever be in. I remember one of my teachers in college, who used to be on Seinfeld, he used to be on Star Trek, and we all revered him. And he was telling us the first time he went to this small little town, started a theater company, and he pretty much just threw a dart at a map, found this little small town, and they were babysitting kids while they were rehearsing in this, you know, small storefront. And the kids saw them, and they were all like flapping around like they were birds for this play. And the kids went, "This is the silliest job." And that's what it is. It's like you show up, you pretend you pretend you're somebody else for a little while, you get paid, and then you go home. And so I think maybe
or you go to Byron's and have a nice hot dog.
You go to Byron's. But then
that's why you work.
Look at, what's his name? Who played Abe Lincoln? I'm terrible.
Daniel Day-Lewis?
Daniel Day-Lewis, method actor. He commits to everything 100%. And his poor family probably has to deal with the fact that he's Abe Lincoln for 6 months, you know? And then he retires.
Dad's going to go out back to go urinate in the woods because he doesn't think we have plumbing anymore.
That's right. And the effect that has on his life, and also to be such a renowned actor in that, like, I can only imagine the stress that puts on his family, knowing that so many people revere him for that, but also that's the thing that gets in the way of him being, you know, present at home.
I think De Niro probably got sick of being thought of in that sense, so he made Meet the Fockers and said, you know what, tired of being thought of as this great method guy, I'm just going to make this really awful movie with Ben Stiller.
He's supposed to be just wonderful to work with.
I'm sure.
I've heard.
He's
everybody
De Niro.
I've talked to.
Yeah.
But like just well prepared, knows what he's doing, knows what he's going to try. And a good collaborator, not somebody who's just going to like send you a condom in the mail like Jared Leto. You know, like, gotta love the guy for, do you have to love him? He tried. He tried some stuff, and they're all getting paid an obscene amount of money anyways, and so.
But speaking of De Niro, king of comedy, that's like a top 5 for me. All-time movie.
Beautiful, yeah.
That's an uncomfortable
movie. They don't make
movie.
them, yeah, very uncomfortable. They don't make them like they...
No. All right, so
Is that a typical thing to say?
to summarize this podcast, which is presented by the Autobarn Mazda of Evanston, we're at Byron's Hot Dogs. There are two locations. We're at the one on Lawrence and Paulina, 1701?
Yes.
1701. That's Mike Payne. He delivered hot dogs to the freaking White House. Also, the location in Irving, where we've been before, this is a Chicago institution. The hot dog, we haven't even had the Chicago.
We haven't
stuff.
had the Chicago yet.
That's going to happen off camera and off mic. Mickey O'Sullivan, actor, TV star, we'll see you on season 2
Season 2 of The
of
Shy.
Showtime's The Shy, which is really exciting.
Captive State coming out in
With
a few
John
months with
Goodman.
John Goodman.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Chicago
That's
PD.
impressive.
The Right Swipe. All-American Sex Offender. What else do we got coming out? We got a whole
Seems
bunch
like
of
enough.
stuff. Yeah.
For
There's a
now-
few
for
more,
now.
but yeah.
For now. So,
Yep.
so
When the Leaves
2019
Fall.
is your year. This is it.
2019 is going to be a good year.
And it starts right here in a Mazda CX-9 eating hot dogs and french fries.
Yeah, and
As it
hopefully Mazda will sponsor me to go up to Minnesota.
There you go.
And visit my brother, right, Mazda?
Let's not push it. Let's not push it. All right. Mickey, you're a fantastic talent. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Mike, you are a talent with food. Thank you for holding up the rear, so to speak.
You got it.
And thank you for watching on Facebook Live and for listening on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, carconcarne.com. Car Con Carne presented by the Autobarn Mazda of Evanston. These guys are awesome. You're awesome for playing along at home.